My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the Modonna Virus, Chapter 3, or Episode 3, Defenselessness. Keep in mind that this is an alternative universe that it takes place during the events of Season 7 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. I don't have any editing software to edit and add background music of any kind, since I mostly use my Elgato to record gameplays, commentaries, reactions, and more like this. I do hope y'all enjoyed the video reading. Without further ado, let's get into the story of Chapter 3. As Inmite commanded his undead army to immediately attack Ponyville in the main 6, he also had some zombies guard disease since she will be immobilized for an hour. However, a new pony that is an enemy acquaintance to Inmite and a watcher over disease too. I found you, Disease. I'm glad and relieved to see you're okay and back from the dead too, and that you're already spreading a plague throughout Equestria. The mysterious cloaked Pegasus said with blue, sharp wings. Disease did turn her head towards him as he first started talking. As he lay down and waited until the effect wears off. Inmite or Morscaw then started to feel anger since he knows what this Pegasus very well. He betrayed him back then, and he always wanted to get back at him for his betrayal. That blue feather brain is still around, huh? I'll have to take care of him later, but for now, I'll use him in my cause. I still don't trust Drakkar after his betrayal of striking me down, but the time will come. He said to himself. Drakkar then approached Disease more to see what's wrong and asked her as they both have a conversation. Hey, Sour Cotton, why aren't you moving when you're just standing or sitting in one place? Hey, Drakkar, I'm stuck in place since the main 6 used the elements of harmony on me to try and banish me, but it didn't work and only has me stuck in place for an hour without moving. Ah, I see. I know a perfect spell in order to help you get free and move about too. I haven't used it in an extremely long time now, but I still remember how to use it. Drakkar then used his magic to free Disease from being put in place, as it now frees her. As she is now able to move by walking forward and all, though Disease has to stretch her hooves to get her blood flow from being in one place for 39 minutes. They then started to walk again towards Ponyville, but this time with Drakkar by her side to look out for her and defend her too, as she is escorted to her next destination while they continue their conversation. Let's stick together and I'll protect you through the Everfree Forest, Sour Cotton. I don't want you to die or become any of the weird creatures, snacks that lives in this forest. Understandable, and thank you, Drakkar. The zombies probably gotten to Ponyville by now and gotten a good amount. By the time that we get there to confirm and see if the main 6 all died, they will all be dead, but there may be some that have survived and aren't zombies yet. Shall we start heading to Ponyville, my friend? Yes, let's begin our journey to Ponyville. As Disease said that, Drakkar then got his magic ready and prepared to execute any Everfree Forest creatures that will do harm to them both. No matter how big or small, he will take them down as they walk through the forest to Ponyville. Sorry if I sound different, I'm sick, but I'll be right. It's just sinuses, so. A few minutes later, as the main 6 looks at the Everfree Forest to see if they are still alive or if zombies are coming out of the forest, Fluttershy then broke the silence of the group by asking while the group is scared and worried. Is it over? Is she banished from Equestria along with her army? She asked while she's worried and scared about the virus outbreak all over half of the land. Twilight Sparkle then responds to her questions with uncertainty and worry too. I'm not sure, Fluttershy. From all we know, it could be just her that got banished or wiped out the virus. Though I have a nagging feeling that it's caused by something else, and that she's not the real target or threat, but just something else. As they continue to have a conversation among themselves, with ponies still panicking and running for their lives, at the Ponyville Hospital, a brother and sister are packing up some medical supplies that they can bring or carry as much as to the shelter as they can before they get overrun by the infected. Sis, have you packed up all the medical supplies that you and I can carry? Turnip asking his older sister if she got everything as he waits for her. His sister didn't respond back to him in a worried and rushed voice, as she then just finished up putting her supplies in her backpack from all that she can carry. Yes, I did. Now let's head to the shelter and don't worry about carrying anything. I'll carry the medical supplies. I need you to protect us both from any infected coming towards us. And don't forget to use your silencer on your pistol. We don't want to draw their attention to us with loud gunfire as well too. Got it, sis, he said to his older sister as he puts a silencer on his pistol. He knows as they both then headed out of the room and fast walked down the hall to make sure they don't slip or run into an infected. They began to talk about Private Turnip's wife and daughter at Sire's Hollow, their hometown that they grew up in, and where both Turnip and his own family lives now. Wondering if they will be okay during this outbreak and survive or not. Will your wife and child be okay during this outbreak, Turnip? I have my doubts about Sire's Hollow's defenses here and there, but I learned that my wife is packing up as much as she can heading towards the community shelter on the outskirts. I'm pretty sure that they are completely safe now, and I'll find a way to reach them to see if they are okay to check up on them. My son is 1 year old, but I know he's safe with his mother. My wife likes to be early or gets to places on time anyway, since she hates being late. Sounds good. I bet they are already at the shelter, safe and sound. Everything will be okay, bro, she said as she pats him on the shoulder with her left hoof once they got outside, and her little brother looking a little relieved and less worried now as he smiles. As every pony is panicking in Ponyville, a loud roar and scream was heard from the Everfree forest that echoed throughout half of Ponyville, which startled and terrified every pony in the main six. After a few seconds of shock, the main six then came up with a new plan to get every pony to safety, but the infected were already pouring out of the Everfree forest. As the infected started pouring out of the forest, ranging from slow trotters to fast gallopers that run at full speed without stopping, the main six tried to get away, but were quickly surrounded. As they are being grabbed, scratched, and bitten, they started to get dragged away in different directions away from each other, while other ponies in Ponyville fight or run for safety to escape the infected. Let's go, bro. Let's get to the shelter. How? There's a bunch of them pouring out the Everfree forest, and we will be walking into our own deaths that they are near the shelter. Turnip says as both siblings are in a panic. He then sees a guard open a secret pathway into the shelter down the street, away from the main entrance, as it's in their way in. Since the guard is trying his best to save as many residents of Ponyville as possible, he then lets his sister know to follow the town guard in order to get into the shelter. Let's go with that guard. I think it's a secret way into the emergency shelter. Let's move quickly. His older sister then nodded her head and agreed in agreement as they make their way to the guard. 2 or 3 infected tried to bite them, but Turnip shot them in the head with his son's pistol as they are making their way to the entrance from where the guard is at. One was about to bite Turnip, but Rainbow Dash jumped in on time to save him and his sister by taking the zombie's bite and punching them hard enough for them to be knocked out cold. As she isn't in pain from injuries of being bitten, scratched, and bruised from the infected earlier from dragging her, she then told both of the Cillians to make a run for a shelter before she flies off to save more ponies before turn. You both head towards that guard and into the shelter. Run now! She said as she took off again, and both of the siblings head into the shelter. Once they got into the shelter, they went down some maintenance corridors and headed towards the nurses' station in the portal room to other community shelters in Equestria as they catch their breath. As Lilly and Turnip passed by the generator room that powers the whole entire shelter, along with some survivors hanging out in the hall of the generator room, Turnip noticed a green mare crying and sobbing along with an engagement ring on a necklace around her neck. He started to think that she had lost her fiancé to the virus and will need a little comfort in these hard times. As he walked over to her and his sister waited for him, he then patted her on the shoulder as she looked up. Turnip then gave her a cute little squishy, smiling squid toy as a souvenir to cheer her up a bit, as he has more in his army bag. I noticed the engagement ring on your necklace, and I figured you lost your fiancé. I'm very sorry for your loss, and you have my condolences. For now, let out all the pain and emotions by crying, and you will get through this. Keep the squishy toys since I have a lot more, and they are meant for children, but I figure it will help you a little by squeezing it. It helps with stress, and I kind of stopped smoking a bit, and it doesn't squeak as much. It doesn't squeak as well, he said to her, and as he is concerned about her. Thank you, sir. You're welcome, ma'am, he said as he continues his walk to the medical and portal room with his older sister. After they both walked around the corner, Lyra then looked up at the generator room from where she can see the generator through the glass window on the side, along with the door made of the strongest steel to get through. She also saw a guard walking by with keys to the generator room. Lyra tried to get fit in her thought, but she doesn't think about it or others around her and decided to go with her plan. While Turnip and Lilly are walking down the hall, they see a red unicorn guard picking on random ponies that he passes and says rude remarks towards them. Hey, pal, lost your family? Well, I bet they are lowlives who are poor. Ha 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 ha! Bannett said to the Earth Pony Stallion when the stallion gave an annoyed look at Bannett as he keeps walking. He then sees a couple that are sitting in the hall when he decides to insult the guy about his weight. Hey, Tubby, if you can't lose weight, then you should be on the My 300-Pound Life show. How about you also ditch this fat loser and come be my girl and make love, my lady? Psych, you're ugly too. Ha 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 ha! The overweight Pegasus Stallion was about to say something to him, but his unicorn girlfriend stopped and decided to flip the bird at Bannett for his remarks with her unicorn magic as he keeps walking. Bannett then saw both Turnip and Lilly come down the hall as he purposely hit shoulder to shoulder with Turnip in order to start a fight or bump shoulders in order to start a fight and get Turnip arrested as they stop and have a conversation in the hall. Oops, I didn't see a lowlife like you walking in my path. However, your sister is looking fine. Ugh. Hey, I don't care you are a law enforcement or guard of any kind, but what you're doing right now is unprofessional behavior. Oh, are you threatening a guard citizen? That will land you serious jail time in jail. No, but I'm just saying what it is, since you think it's okay to pick on anyone and any pony and abuse your power and abilities as a guard. I could care less if you're a politician or anything like that, but it does not give you an excuse to act like a brain-dead idiot who wants to intentionally bully ponies and feel like they are invincible just because you're in uniform. It only shows how much low self-esteem and pride you have that you're bullying others just to please yourself. Please your cave, like, please your cave pony-like brain. You son of a... Bannett was about to punch Turnip when the canterlot's captain of the guard stops his assault with his magic and yells at him, "In my office, now, Bannett!" The captain then drags Bannett to his office, as Bannett now has a worried and shocked look on his face. Once they got around the corner, Turnip did say something to or about him before him and his sister continued down the hall. Idiot. As Turnip and Lilly got to the nurse's station, Lilly then set down medical supplies that she can carry from the hospital. Both of them were about to go to the common area in order to wait to get their room assigned, when all of a sudden, in the next room over, the portals to other community shelters has opened and finally working in the portal room. There are portals to the Crystal Empire, Vancouver, Manhattan, Philadelphia, and many more. Before they entered the portal to Vancouver to go to Lilly's new assigned nurse station and Turnip reporting to his general, Lilly needs to get information about her assignment from Nurse Nightingale for what she needs to do while over in Vancouver. Once she got her job details on what she needs to do, she got her brother and they both went through the portal to Vancouver together to report in for their duties, in to be updated on some status here and there. There are also ponies who are coming in and out of our portals too to get to the other community shelters across Equestria too. Turnip and Lilly made it through the portal, and a few seconds later, as they made it to the community shelter of Vancouver, the portal to Ponyville has shut down and deactivated for some reason, and it's not on just Vancouver's side. It happened all over to all other places too. Every pony in the portal room of Vancouver started to grow worried and concerned for our pony's safety. What happened to the portal to Ponyville? It looks like there's a problem with the generator at Ponyville. It's not bugged or overheating by itself, but it looks like if some pony must have broken it. The mayor scientist says with a worried and concerned voice as she now alarms every pony else more now. Meanwhile, in Ponyville's community shelter, guards are now trying to hold off against the horde of infected, while every pony else tries to find a way out. Unknown that one of the bodies in the morgue have reanimated and mutated to where they will be a much huger threat to every pony in the shelter. As Bannett was coming out from the captain's office from getting fired from harassing ponies around him, he heard yelling coming from down both ends of the halls from the chaos as the shelters breached. The captain ran off to arrest the suspect responsible for the shelter being breached. Bannett then went to where the virus disease room is, since there's an escape route through there too on other sides of the shelter he hasn't found yet. He saw his ponies starting to crowd the entrance and haven't gone through the virus labs yet due to the door to the room being closed. Along with threat also waiting for the doors on the other side to open, so the monster can attack. As Bannett made his way through the ponies to see the threat that's on the other side of the door, it is Tree Hugger. But except she is reanimated, it is a reanimated zombie that's different from others. Her coat is pale. Most of her mane on her hair and tail have fallen off, except for a few pieces of hair on both. Her pupils have gotten small and are white almost, and the most horrifying feature is that she has spikes coming out of her back, inside of her torso, long inside of her torso, along with the spikes coming out of her back legs on the sides of too, as blood trickles out of the open wounds a little. Well, if it isn't tree high as a kite hugger, did those little enemies of yours that you love really help you look ugly like this? I bet that he was saying, then got cut off from finishing. When what he did was cut off from what he was finishing, what he was saying when the lab doors opened. Tree hugger quickly turned around and aimed her spikes at every pony and shoot all of them at once. As the spikes quickly spread out into the air, flying like the spread of a shotgun blast. Some ponies managed to take cover, while others got hit by the spikes, which either penetrated their bodies or fatally took them out. Bannett took cover behind a metal table, and the spikes didn't go through, as he then was chased around the shelter along with our survivors, until he found a secret exit door leading into the ever-free forest. There's barely any zombies or infected in the woods when he got out, but he can still hear screaming coming from the inside the forest and from the town of Ponyville. 5 minutes later of carefully taking the steps through the ever-free forest to get somewhere safe, he couldn't shake the feeling that he is being watched and followed now. Who's there? I have a gun. As he was about to say that he has a gun, but realized that he has been fired and all of his guard equipment is removed due to how he's been treating the Ponyville residents inside the shelter. While he was looking at from where his gun was holstered, usually, next he then faced forwards, only to be met with a big wooden branch to his face that did knock him out unconscious. When he woke up, he found himself all tied up on the ground and not being able to get up back on his hooves. He then saw a familiar mare approaching him from the left side of him. It was Lyra Heartstrings, but she had this look of a murder in her eyes, and that she has lost it. Bannett tried to use his magic, but he realized now that his horn has been broken off to prevent him from using any kind of magic. Hey Lyra, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm very sorry for bullying you and taking out your fiancé. Shut up! She said as she punched him in the face, causing some blood to come out of his mouth. Lyra then took out a kitchen knife and started to stab Bannett with every painful plunge of a knife into all 4 of his legs. Before she started to stab him, she duct taped his mouth so his screams doesn't attract survivors or the affected to their location. We were supposed to get married. I finally found happiness. I found somebody who accepts me for who I am, no matter my past actions or weirdness. I want to make sure she gets cured, but you in her life, when she wasn't a zombie fully yet, she said, starting to yell as Bannett cries from the excruciating pain that he's feeling and trying to beg her to forgive and spare him as he apologizes.
No, I'm so sorry.
He apologizes while he's getting stabbed. However, it falls on deaf ears as Lyra is too angry and doesn't want to forgive him. She wants him to die, and she now levitates a pistol from one of the guards that chased after her and that she took out earlier. Before shooting Bannett, she told him some parting words that he won't forget. You think it's funny to ruin others' lives and bring them down to make yourself feel better, when really, it shows how much of a scumbag and sad being that you are. If my bonbon or any pony doesn't deserve happiness, you don't deserve it either, you low-down scum. She then shot him in both of his lungs and slit his throat, in the process, make him die a slow and painful death. As Bannett slowly dies, Lyra then starts to walk east of the air-free forest to get out and head up north to be safe somewhere once she gets out of the air-free. Unknown to her, some pony already witnessed her act of murder,